Welcome to the unknown, a place where ghosts, cryptids, and extraterrestrials are sought. This is where you'll find answers to questions about what lurks in the dark. This is Periscope Uncensored.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Periscope Uncensored here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting. I am Clarissa Vasquez, and joining me as always is the man, the myth, the legend, Jax.
Hello, everybody.
So, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing fabulous. How are you?
If I was any better, I'd be twins.
Really?
Yeah.
Would the world be ready for twins of Clarissa?
I don't know. I think the world kind of has its hands full with just one of me, don't you think?
Maybe.
Maybe.
But if you
go ahead. What were you saying?
go ahead. Right?
No,
If
go ahead.
I was just going to say that if there was two of you, then or twins, it would be twice the money, twice the fun, so to speak.
So by twice the
So
money,
there
are
you
you
go.
insinuating that I'm expensive?
Oh, what gave you that idea? No, I'm just saying that you'll be making twice the money. You could write twice the books.
Ah. So maybe I need a clone. Maybe I need a clone, another me to do the housework and write the books, and then I can just take naps.
Maybe. We'll see.
I think that would be cool. But before we get the show underway, we want to send a shout out to the family of a good friend who sadly passed away last week. So to the family of Greg Skinner in Enid, Oklahoma, our thoughts and prayers are with you, and we're deeply sorry for your loss. And folks, we're going to take a moment of silence here as a tribute to Greg. Thank you for indulging that, folks. We understand that not many of our listeners knew who Greg was, but he was very near and dear to our inner circle of friends, and he will be missed very much.
Yes, he will.
So, on a lighter note, you, sir, left me alone with your friends this evening. And we got on a roll of telling stupid jokes, which prompted me to look up some jokes that are appropriate for our radio show.
Really?
Yep. So I'm gonna ask you a series of questions and see if you can get the answers right.
Okay.
So, what does a ghost do to stay safe in a car?
What does a ghost do to stay safe in a car?
Right.
I give up.
They put on their seatbelt. Why do ghosts hate rain?
Why?
Because it dampens their spirits. Why are ghosts such terrible liars?
Because they're not transparent.
Because you can see right through them.
Oh, I was close, I guess.
Why wouldn't the ghost eat liver?
Why?
Because he didn't have the stomach for it.
Oh.
Do ghosts have fun at parties?
Yeah, they should.
Yes, they have a whale of a good time. How do you know when a ghost is sad?
Because you can hear them scream.
He says, boo-hoo. Why did the ghost starch his sheet?
Why?
He wanted everyone to be scared stiff. Why did the policeman let the ghost go?
Why?
He couldn't pin anything on him. What kind of street does a ghost live on?
I don't know.
A dead end.
Wow. Some of these I should know.
What room is left out of a ghost's house?
I don't know.
The living room.
Oh my God. And these are all the jokes that you told with
No. No, they are hearing them for the first time as they're listening to the show.
Oh. Okay.
And there's more, but I will stop.
Okay. Well, those were cute.
I could go on and on and on and on. But I won't.
Is this on a website?
Yeah. Yeah, I Googled them.
Huh.
Oh, Kat had a really good suggestion for the street that a ghost lives on. She suggested a boulevard.
Yeah.
So, Vern, behave in the chat room. The computer joke was not appropriate. So, we want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. If you're listening via Spreaker or another one of the internet affiliates, we encourage you to come over to WBHM-DB.com where you can participate in our fully interactive chat room and talk with like-minded and sometimes not so like-minded individuals, as evidenced by some of the stuff that's already being posted in the chat room. I am in chat, as is our guest this evening. Our guest this evening is already in the chat room. Why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about our guest?
Well, Qvid is a friend of mine that he's a very hard-nosed skeptic when it comes to things like paranormal, and he has had some experiences and brought him on the show because it's interesting, and he has a very keen idea of what could possibly be going on. You know, he comes out with tries to find logical reasoning behind said phenomena.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a fun show, I think.
He's really good at debunking.
Yes, he is. Yep.
And you weren't entirely sure that I was going to get along with him when you first introduced the two of us, and come to find out, we're almost a couple of peas in a pod. We get along swell.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to having Q on the show. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We were just on a Skype call with him before the show started, and of course, you know, telling really, really, really bad jokes. My sides still hurt from all of the laughing.
Yeah. Yeah, that when we're all together, you know, on a video chat, it's like that almost every time.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and you left for a while. You left me alone with them. And they corrupted
I know.
me.
They corrupted you?
They corrupted me. I used to be sweet and innocent.
Uh-oh.
I know.
That's not good.
No.
I shall have to speak to them.
Yes. You'll have to spank them.
I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, well. In fact, when you joined the call, I believe my words were, "Make the bad man stop." The jokes were that bad.
Well, I came on at the tail end because I didn't know that you guys were still on, because that was like the 5th time that I came on. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. You left me alone with the likes of Q and Vern. And for our listeners, yes, it's the same Vern that we had on the show a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
And they corrupted me.
It was.
They corrupted me. They poisoned my fragile little mind. The chat room is blowing up. Everybody's posting, you know, the smileys and stuff. I don't think anybody believes that I was, you know, all sweet and innocent until you left me alone with your friends.
Well,
Wow, I want to see the answer to that question. Brenda just posted in chat a question to Vern. I don't know if you saw it. And folks, if you want to know what the question is, come on over to wbhm-db.com and click the live chat button where you can join in the chat and see the question that Brenda just posted to Vern. I want to know what the answer is. We're waiting, Vern. I have been super busy today, actually, getting guests lined up for upcoming shows. And the response has been really, really good.
Awesome.
So we've got some exciting stuff coming down the pike.
Awesome. Can't wait for that.
Yeah. And yeah, it's going to be really exciting. We will be talking to some different paranormal teams, learning more about their research and their contributions to their community. And I'm in talks right now with a brand new up and coming paranormal equipment company.
Huh.
And yeah. So
That sounds interesting.
yeah. So I'm really excited about that. And we've even got 2 shows booked into April already.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. So the one that I can confirm in April is we're going to have Mike Brody, the paranormal comedian, on the show in April.
Wow. That's going to be a good show.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been talking to Mike since November, trying to get him booked on the show. And with his touring schedule, it has just been crazy trying to get a date to line up, but we finally made it happen.
Awesome. Yeah, I've seen some of his videos. Very funny.
Yeah. So, lots of really cool and exciting stuff coming up here on Periscope Uncensored, and for the WBHM network as a whole. I know a lot of the new shows are finally starting to take off, and things are looking really, really good. So, exciting stuff coming down the pike.
Yay!
Yay! So, yeah. Sorry, I had to get a cat out of my lap there for a second.
That's definitely looking forward to the upcoming shows. So
yeah.
Let's keep it rolling.
Definitely. And it says
So
you
what's yeah, I just bailed out for a second.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, and all the girls are like, "Oh, Jax left." Right. Yep. So here in about 45 seconds, we're going to take our first break of the evening. But when we come back, we're going to have Qvid on the line. Mr. Q. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to this show.
Yeah, me too.
So this is going to be good stuff. So we are going to go ahead and take that break. But when we come back, we will have the Q on the show with us. So stay tuned, folks. You are listening to Periscope Uncensored on WBHM Digital Broadcasting, and we will be right back. 23 minutes past the hour here on Periscope Uncensored on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Alabama. I am Clarissa Vasquez, and joining me, as always, is my partner in crime, Mr. Jax.
How you doing, everybody?
And our guest is here. The British invasion has begun.
Yay!
Everyone, please join us in welcoming to the show, Qvid.
Hello.
In my head, I had the theme song for 2001: Space Odyssey running through my head.
Right.
Great tune.
Yeah, I'm sure it had something to do with the fact that we were talking about that movie earlier today. And I've not seen the movie, but I'm very familiar with the theme song. It's like that's like the perfect intro for you, Q.
It's a classic sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh, is Jax having technical difficulties again? He could be. That's all I hear is uh-oh and then radio silence.
I'm sure he'll get back.
Yeah, I see his little speech bubble turning white, like he's trying to say something, but nothing's coming out. He's a mute. He's a mute. Or is he just a mutant? or is he just a mutant? I don't know. So, Q, why don't you tell our listeners where you're from? Because I'm sure they're all very, very curious.
I'm from Liverpool in England, born and bred in Liverpool.
Home of the Beatles.
Yes. I'm personally not a fan of the Beatles, but yes, you could say home of the Beatles.
Well, that is where the Beatles were from, yes?
It is.
Okay. So, and you have had some paranormal experiences. I know I've heard at least one of them. So for our listeners, why don't you share a little bit about some of the experiences you've had across the pond?
Well, when it comes to paranormal and paranormal-related things, I've seen one thing in the sky that was probably a balloon or a kite, and it was disputed between UFO Proof and Dazza the cameraman. One thought it was one thing, one thought it was another. But they're not amazing sightings, although one of them was actually backed up in a newspaper and backed up by a police officer. When it comes to the more ghost side of paranormal, I had an experience that went on for roughly 5 years, and that would have been 2-3 times every week.
Really? Oh, do tell.
Well, we used to go along to my Auntie Doris's. She lived about 10 minutes away from us. She lived in a flat that was semi above a shop.
Okay.
And this was from me being the age of 8. I'm now in my 50s. But this was from the age of 8 to 13 before she passed away. And as a child, I never spoke to anybody about this because I knew what to expect. If I'd have said to me mother, "Oh, I'm scared to go to the toilet upstairs," she'd have asked me why. And when I'd have said to her, "There's a 10-foot piece of landing that just scares the hell out of me, and I don't know why, but it's so terrifying. I don't want to walk on that piece of landing," I would imagine in those days and ages, I would have got a clip behind the ear hole, as they say, and told not to be so stupid. So I never, ever talked about it to anybody.
Right.
And basically what it was to go to the toilet, you had to go along this short stretch of landing that, to me, was terrifying. Terrifying to the point where I would pretend to be letting the dog out in the garden, and I would actually go and pee in the garden rather than go upstairs to the toilet. I would leave the flat of a night, walk home with my family. As soon as I'd leave the flat, I would be saying to me mother, "I need the toilet." And she'd be, "Why didn't you go while we were in there?" "I didn't need it then." And I'd get moaned at. And I would go into an entry and basically pee in the entry. And that was better, getting moaned at every time we went there. And I'd say we used to go there 2-3 times a week. That was better than going upstairs to the toilet. Um, and that was basically it for 5 years. But where it got interesting was a couple of days after my 21st birthday party, because I was actually abroad on my 21st birthday. And when I come home after my holiday, my mother had a little house party, a couple of my friends round and stuff like that. And we were all drinking. And I was talking to my sister, and we were just talking about old times. And I just happened to say to her, oh, I used to hate going to our Auntie Doris's. And my sister, completely out of the blue, as I say, I had never said anything to anybody. She turned round, my sister, and said to me, what, the landing upstairs? And I was gobsmacked. And I asked her why she said that. And she said, I don't know, but there was something on that landing that used to scare the hell out of me, which was exactly the way I felt. Now, you have to remember, I never saw anything. I never heard anything. There was no reason to be worried on the stretch of landing. So me and my sister talked about this for a minute or so. She even said to me, didn't you ever get onto the fact that I'd never go to the toilet upstairs, or I'd always avoid going to the toilet? In fact, whereas you used to go and pee in the alleyway when we came out, I used to be the first person up in the bathroom when we got home. So at this point, my mother came into the living room and said, what is it you're talking about? And we said to my mother, we're talking about our Auntie Doris's, and why apparently we were both scared of going up on the landing. And it was at that point my mother basically blew both of our minds when she said, ah, right, so was I. But the difference was my mother had actually had an experience up there.
Really? What happened?
She said she'd always been worried going along the landing. There was always a weird feeling, something that scared her, and again, for no reason. But she said one particular night, she came out of the bathroom, and the piece of landing I had to walk along, it had a flat wall at the end of it, and there was an alcove to the right, which actually led to a room that overlooked the front of the shop.
Okay.
She said she saw what at first she thought was a shadow, but after thinking about it, she realised it couldn't have been a shadow because it was lighter than the wall it was on. And it was a poorly lit landing, shall we say.
Okay.
But she said it wasn't a human shape per se. There was no detail, but it was a kind of the rough outline of a human shape. And this shadow, as she explained it at the time, she said moved across the wall and looked as though it went into the alcove. So she went along this piece of landing and turned to the left to go down the stairs. And as she looked back into the alcove, which was a doorway, she said this shadow was standing in the doorway. She panicked. She started to run down the stairs. She actually fell down the bottom part of the stairs, and it's a fairly long flight of stairs. And at the bottom of the stairs, there was a door into the living room. And there was one night where my mother actually fell through the door. Not through the door burst open, and my mother was in a pile on the floor. And she told everybody at the time that she tripped. But in actual fact, she'd panicked and fallen down the bottom part of the stairs, running away from what she'd seen in the alcove. Now, as I say, I never saw or heard anything. I have nothing to explain why I will be so scared. of a 10-foot stretch of landing. There was nothing but the fact that my sister, my mother, and I later found out that my Auntie Judy, who also lived in the house, she also did not like this 10-foot stretch of landing.
Wow. Now, do you know anything of the history of the building? If there were any deaths in the building or on the property before there was a building there? Do you know anything about the history of it?
It was something that I never looked into because, as I say, this happened to me when I was 8 to 13.
Mm-hmm.
So I just thought I was being stupid. And then over the years, it didn't go out my mind, but I never talked about it to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought it was me being scared of something stupid, being scared of the dark per se. And then afterwards, no, I didn't actually research anything. But there must have been something there. Although, as Jack said at the beginning, yes, I am a skeptic.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to say I would like to have seen something, but in reality, maybe I was better not seeing anything.
It's possible, because, seeing something, especially, between the ages of 8 and 13, that could have been very traumatic for you. But it begs the question then, what could have been there, whether it was paranormal or not, that would strike fear into multiple people. Maybe there was something about the hallway or the doorway in question, that wasn't level and it was creating a funhouse effect, that was putting everybody on edge. That wouldn't explain the figure that your mom saw, but it could account for the feelings of unease. But have you given thought to that? As far as what it could have been that would affect so many people on such a primal level.
Yeah, and there's nothing that I can actually put it down to because possibly there was some sort of disorientation because maybe it wasn't flat, although I can honestly say it seemed perfectly flat. Yeah, there could have been something like that
Mm-hmm.
that would explain it, but there's nothing that I can actually put down. And being a skeptic, if the floor was slightly wobbly or something, I would blame that. I would put it down to that as a possibility, but there was nothing I can put my finger on.
And was that in Liverpool?
Yes, that was actually Alder Hay Hospital. It was a flat that was above a shop that at the time was named Gillian's, and it was a clothes shop it was like fancy dresses for young kids. Well, for young girls, like say if they're going to church for communion or something like that, you would buy that type of dress there.
Okay.
But yeah, over the years,
is the building still there?
the building is still there, but the shop is, I believe, a different shop now. I couldn't tell you what it is now.
I wonder if it wouldn't serve a purpose of some sort to, to go and ask, say, look, I was here a lot as a child. I would just like to, take a look around, for 5 minutes and, talk to the people that currently live in the flat and, maybe see if they have some experiences.
Well, I have talked to the guys over the last couple of years about doing that. But, I kind of think mid-50s guy almost knocking on your door. And you can't actually knock on the door because there's a gate and a very short, alleyway between the buildings.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a back gate, because it's essentially a back gate that you would use to go to the flat. Me turning up and saying, "Hi, I once had a weird experience in your place. Have you experienced anything? Would you mind me coming into your flat and looking round?" I don't know how well that would go down in Liverpool.
Well, I'll tell you what, when Jax and I come visit you, I will go and knock on their door and see how well they respond to the crazy American lady.
That will be cool. I will take you there, and when they laugh at you and tell you to sod off, basically, I will say, "Yes, sorry about this. She's a crazy American lady." But yes, I have thought about doing that. It's a place, if I got the opportunity to go back there. I mean, I'm getting goosebumps now thinking about it, but I would do it. I would do it without a doubt. Although, I reckon those feelings would come back so quick. It wasn't just scary. It was terrifying, but for no reason.
Yeah. I would definitely be interested in checking it out and seeing, if there is some sort of funhouse effect going on, or if there is some sort of, weird energy level. I mean, it could be that, the wiring in the wall right there on the landing, is old or shoddy, improperly insulated or whatever, and it's putting off high levels of electromagnetic energy, which can cause feelings of, being watched, or, it can cause panic in some cases, depending on how high the frequency is. So I would definitely be interested in checking it out.
Yeah, I have a quick.
Sorry, go on.
Go ahead, Jax.
I have a quick question. Do you know how old the building is?
Oh, no, not exactly. I mean, it had been there for years. It's an old building. It's got to be at least 100 and odd years old. Probably pre-war.
Do you know if there was any black mold or asbestos in that building?
No, I don't know.
Because that can cause euphoria too. So.
Yeah, see, there could be a legit explanation for it. I just can't give you one.
That's really interesting. But it is time for our next break of the evening. But when we come back, we're going to have more with our British invasion and Qvid. So stay tuned. You're listening to Periscope Uncensored on WBHM Digital Broadcasting, and we will be right back. 45 minutes past the hour here on Periscope Uncensored on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Alabama. I am Clarissa Vasquez, and in the co-pilot seat, as always, is the sprinkles on my donut, Mr. Jax.
Hello, everybody.
We have got a great guest on the line this evening, do we not?
Yes, we do.
We are joined this evening by the British invasion, the man of mystery, the man with the accent that is making women in the chat room swoon, Mr. Qvid.
Hello.
Well,
I don't think my
to
radio voice is as good as I would like it to be.
You're doing great.
Just go a little deeper. That's all you got to do.
Oh my God.
No problem.
You guys are going to be the death of me.
So, Q, you're into other things into the paranormal as well, correct?
I wouldn't say so much into, but there's other things that interest me. The likes of Bigfoot, I do believe that there's a possibility at some point that a creature will be found and it will be explained. Like the fact that gorillas, even pandas, at one point they were classed as a mythical creature. that people had talked about for years and years, and until they were actually found, they were mythical creatures, and I believe Bigfoot could be one of those things. When people talk about the things like cryptids and the dog things, whatever they call them, I'm not sure about that, although I do find the fact that some of these older tribes have talked about these things for years, maybe there was something to it. My main focus, the thing I would love to know the answer to more than anything would be, have aliens been to Earth? I mean, I fully believe, and I think that anybody that doesn't believe that aliens exist in the universe, for somebody not to believe that, they must be very, very small-minded. And the reason I feel that way is because you look at our planet, and okay, to us it's a big planet, but in reality it's a grain of sand. And yeah, on this one grain of sand, we have so many different forms of life that, with so many planets out there, I mean, I think the last estimation was something like a minimum of 27 trillion or something. Probably a bigger number than that. There has to be life on other planets. The only part of the UFO subject I'm hung up on is, what is it people are seeing? Because automatically when you say UFO, people automatically think that you're talking about little green men from Mars or whatever flying this UFO. Now, I honestly believe the majority of what is seen in the sky is probably homegrown stuff, secret military stuff. I mean, the first original sighting with Tom Arnold, where the whole phrase flying saucers was coined from, that was actually a bunch of planes, single wing planes. And I think the majority of UFO sightings are the likes of that. I'd just like to know whether aliens have actually been to Earth.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think of the theory? I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Jax.
Well, what do you think of the theory that some people speculate that aliens have been here all along, actually has influenced the history of mankind?
I would never diss somebody for having that opinion, because they could be right. I mean, when you see some of the things, some of the evidence, if that's what you want to call it, that would make you think there is a possibility for it, a high possibility in some cases. But there's nothing that would make me completely agree. There's nothing I've seen, no case I've looked at that would make me say, yes, I believe aliens have been to Earth, although I understand the arguments for people thinking that. I just don't necessarily agree with them.
Okay. Sorry, Clarissa, what were you going to say?
Nope, he answered my question.
Okay.
I mean, there have been some fantastic cases, some really unusual ones. I mean, the one in Australia with all them kids, and they all explained seeing the same UFO, and even the way the aliens went into the craft, the way they said the aliens went into the craft was quite ridiculous, to be honest. But a good argument to that is, you're talking, I think it was 60-odd kids who still to this day still tell the same story. the ones that have been re-interviewed. It's hard enough getting 60 kids to sit still, and
Right.
yet you're going to get them to all come up with the same, I'm going to say, crazy story,
Mm-hmm.
and then continue it throughout their lives. So, there is interesting stories out there. Some very, very strange stories, but I just can't, there's nothing that makes me believe that aliens have actually been here yet.
Yeah, because you got one of the most famous stories is actually the first story is when they're coming back from that party and whatnot, being abducted.
Okay, Jax, your audio is breaking out really bad, and I'm not even able to interpret what you're saying. Q, he was asking about a really famous story. I'm not sure if you know what he's talking about.
I couldn't make out what he was saying, to be
Yeah,
honest.
I couldn't. I didn't know if it was something maybe you guys had discussed earlier and you were able to pick apart what he was saying or not.
I don't know. I mean, I did have one UFO sighting myself, although
Okay.
my actual side of the sighting isn't very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And that was back in, I think it was 1977.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually check up on the date. It was something like the 10th of August, 1977. It was the day that Kenny Dalglish, who was a Scottish football player, signed for Liverpool Football Club to actually play for them.
Mm-hmm.
And the night he signed, I was actually with my mother walking down to one of her friends' houses. We were walking down a long road called Melwood Drive. And as we're going down, to the right of us is Liverpool Football Club's training ground.
Mm-hmm.
And we're walking down and we're just talking away. And out of the corner of my eye, I saw a flash of light that looked as though it went upwards. Now, you have to remember, I wasn't looking at this light. I was just looking in front while I was walking. And I saw this out of the corner of my eye. And as I turned to see what the flash was, there was nothing there. It was gone.
Mm-hmm.
I said to my mother, "Did you see that?" She was, "See what?" I said, "It looked like a flash of light, like lightning maybe, but it looked like it went upwards." And she was like, "No, didn't see anything." And that was the end of the conversation. So we went to my mum's friend's house. I played with her kids. We went home. Nothing more had been said about it. The following day, in the Liverpool Echo, they did a report. Now, one side of Liverpool's training ground is Melwood Drive, and the other side is Daysbrook Lane. And
Mm-hmm.
these two roads kind of run parallel. They end up, Daysbrook Lane merges into Melwood.
Mm-hmm.
But when we were walking down there, apparently there was a 40-odd-year-old police officer who had been out washing his car in the evening,
Mm-hmm.
who had stood there, and this was the report that was in the Echo. He'd stood there for 20-odd minutes observing a light that was hovering above Liverpool's training ground, and he said it was just a light, like a ball of light. And he said he observed it for 20-odd minutes, at which point it shot up into the sky and was gone within a second or so. That's what I believe I caught out of the corner of my eye. So although it wasn't a great sighting from my side of it, I do believe I caught the tail end of what that police officer was looking at. Because
Wow.
the description of it shooting up, and he said it went from hovering there, and as I say, he said he'd been watching it for like 20 odd minutes, and he said it shot up that fast. It was gone in a split second. And that's, I truly believe, whatever that was, and I would have to say, I don't think we had the technology for that at that time. But whatever it was, I do think I caught the tail end of something. Unfortunately, I wasn't looking at the thing. It was out the corner of my eye. So, yeah, nothing fantastic. And the only other thing I've seen, the video was actually on my YouTube channel. And if you were to watch it, you'd look at it and you'd say, yeah, probably a balloon. Although some other people in the circles who know what to look for instance, the likes of Proof and Dazza, the cameraman specifically, they completely disagreed over what it was. Proof said it was a balloon. Dazza, the cameraman, said 100% not a balloon.
Wow.
The problem was the camera I was recording it with as well. It was not a very good camera, shall we say. Not a very good video recorder. If I'd have had the video recorder I have now, which isn't anything fantastic, but I'd have been able to zoom in on that thing, and if there were little green men inside it, I'd have been able to see them and wave to them.
Wow.
But yeah, so I would really love to know what these UFOs are, but I do believe the majority are probably stuff that has been built by us.
So you're thinking the majority, and again, to revisit and preface this, what people see flying in the sky and automatically interpret as evidence of extraterrestrial existence, are what you're saying is most of them are human made and human caused, but because they are unknown, they're automatically categorized as unidentified flying objects, which is correct. But it is your belief that they're human based, not extraterrestrial based.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, they always say that the likes of the military are 40 to 50 years ahead. Well, if you think 50 odd years ago, yeah, I mean, 100 years ago, we barely had planes. The planes were pretty crappy in comparison to the type of thing that we have actually seen them use. And, the likes of the SR-71.
Right. Okay. Well, on that note, Mr. Q, it is time for our top of the hour break. But when we come back, more with the Qvid. The British invasion continues. Stay tuned. You're listening to Periscope Uncensored on WBHM Digital Broadcasting, and we'll be right back after this message from NPR. 5 minutes past the hour here on Periscope Uncensored on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Alabama. I am Clarissa Vasquez, and of course, my ever faithful and trusty companion this evening is none other than the man of mystery, Mr. Jax.
Hello, everybody.
Ooh, radio voice. So the technical issues have been overcome. We'll let Jax take over the line of questioning here.
Okay, can we? I just want to go back to Bigfoot for a second there, Qvid. How do you think, in your opinion, I mean, some people think that actually shooting one is a way of proving it, that they exist. What do you think is the best course to try to prove it? You think that's a good course of action?
Well, it's certainly a core, it's something of that you could do, but at the same time, if we hadn't discovered, say, snow leopards, would the best way of proving that one exists be shoot it in the head and show everybody its dead body when you may have just destroyed one of the few that actually exist?
Right.
I don't think it would be cool if one could be caught, but then should you capture these things? You know, it's such a loaded question. You could just destroy a species by doing that, depending on what sort of population they've got. I mean, you would presume the fact that they haven't been found, they've got a small population. But at the same time, pandas were once thought to be a mythical creature, and now they're in pretty much every zoo on the planet. They still only have a small population, but they are in pretty much every zoo, same as gorillas. So it would be nice if we could observe them. Maybe leave them in their natural habitat, but actually be able to observe them properly. But that's a little bit harder said than done.
Yes, because considering that even the United States government back in 1975, 76, somewhere in that general years, there was a booklet put out of indigenous species that live in Washington State. And in that book, Sasquatch was in that book.
Yeah, so if they are complete fantasy, why the hell would they be in a book? Wouldn't the American government basically say to the person that wrote that paragraph, dude, you haven't got a job anymore because you're an idiot?
You would think.
Surely they wouldn't leave it in a book. So either they had a tendency to think that there was a possibility of these things, or surely they just wouldn't include it.
Right.
And other people would say, well, the arguments, there's also a thing in Feynman's books. If they find a strange object that appears to have come from outer space, there are certain protocols that they're to follow. Well, I'm sorry, but there's a difference with that. If something drops from space, that, again, doesn't mean it's an alien spacecraft. That could be a satellite. That could be something that might have some sort of power cells. That could be dangerous if you went near them. And that might be why those protocols are put into place. But why put into place protocols for a creature that everybody laughs at and scoffs at?
Correct. And did you know that people that live in and around the Appalachian Mountains, they claim that they have more sightings than the Pacific Northwest?
I didn't know that specific detail, but it wouldn't surprise me where in the world. I mean, you've got Sasquatch, Yeti, Bigfoot. You know, it goes under so many different names, depending on what part of the world as well. But I do believe there's creatures out there that could probably be existing. It's happened before. I keep going back to pandas and gorillas, but if it can happen with them when they're in zoos all around the world now, why can't it still be going on? I mean, they're still discovering things in the oceans. Now, yes, we haven't explored the oceans as much as we've explored the on land. But in some of these places on land, some of the forests, I always imagine a forest as being like, oh, a big pile of trees, and you can walk through it within an hour or so. But in some parts of the world, those forests, it will take you days and days and days and days to walk from one side to the other. It's
Right.
easy for something to hide in a place that big. Easy.
Oh yeah, I mean, just in the Pacific Northwest and around well, just as an example, the Pacific Northwest. I mean, you got a vast amount of wilderness out there, and it goes, you know, hundreds of thousands of square miles of nothing but wilderness. As long as you have a food source, sure, that's a plenty big amount of space to hide a species of wild man, so to speak.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
Yeah, it'd be very, very easy. It'd be easy for you to go into one of them forests and disappear and live the rest of your life, and nobody would know you were there.
Yeah. What do you think about the theory of the connection between Bigfoot and UFOs and aliens, about, you know, them possibly dropping off Bigfoot, because there had been signs and reports of Bigfoot sightings and UFO sightings in the same general vicinity?
Yes, there have been. My opinion on that is, let's get it straight. I'm not even convinced aliens have been to this planet. I do believe Bigfoot, for choice of words, exists, but putting the two together, when I don't believe fully that aliens have even been here, no, sorry, I think that's just, you know, why don't we say, well, maybe aliens are doing this, that, or the other? You know, let's add everything to aliens. I mean, they bring in the alien, they bring in Sasquatch to the world to do something. The Sasquatches, the actual aliens flying the spacecraft. Nah, it's too much of a jump for me. I understand that people try to make a connection, but I think it's a poor connection, to be honest.
I think it's more related to like the Native Americans, to tell you the truth. You know,
Well,
whether it be like a who knows, it could be a shaman.
see,
know.
I don't know so much about the whole shaman thing and all of that, but I do find it interesting that through history, a lot of these groups and tribes, now it might just be because they're a bit stupid, or, you know, just not up with the funky kids, you know, that they believe these crazy things. But it is interesting that so many of these tribes describe similar things. Now, whether it's just a crazy belief, you know, we have flat earthers, unfortunately, you know, and they have a belief of a flat earth. So they could just be crazy like them. Or maybe there is something to it, but without real proof, it's just stories, it's just legend. Now, there could be truth behind those stories and legends, but show me something. Show me something definite.
Now you okay, so I'm assuming that you believe in aliens though, right?
Oh, 100% aliens exist. 100%. As I said before, I think anybody that believes that there aren't aliens in the universe is quite pathetically small-minded.
But why would you think, okay, if you believe in aliens, why would you think that you don't know for sure if they have been here?
Well, show me one piece of evidence, one piece of proof. That's the bit I'm stuck on. I fully believe in aliens. I'm just not convinced that they have actually been here. I mean, at the moment, we are at a technological level where we are, well, trying to go to Mars, send people to Mars. Well, if we land on Mars and we see whether it be some stupid little creature running around, there you go. Alien life exists. Whether that alien life is technologically advanced to be able to come to Earth is a different kettle of fish. And I know everybody says, well, aliens must be more advanced from us. Why? Why must they be? Alien life could be little rodent-like things running around. It's still alien life. It doesn't necessarily mean that they are more advanced than us.
That's true.
And I know a lot of people talk about the whole interdimensional thing to explain how they would be able to get here when we can't get there. And I understand the concept. But again, show me something. I mean, if we can get to Mars, if there's little rodents or something on Mars, why can't they get here? It might just be because they haven't got the technology. They maybe weren't bothered with trying to get off their planet kind of thing. And I'm only using Mars as an example. But, we can get there. So they would look at us possibly as a highly evolved life form, even if, that's if they've got a conception of that. Because, like, if we go to Mars and we find things that are like ants, how are we going to communicate with them? Hey, Mr. Ant, we're humans. Yeah, but that conversation probably isn't going to go on for very long. Now, if aliens are coming to Earth, it's possible that they could be that highly advanced that they kind of look at us where we're the ants. But again, show me something. Show me some proof. And it's hard. There's amazing stories out there. But I haven't seen the proof.
So you saw those videos that were put out to the Stars Academy.
Yes.
What did you think about those videos? Do you think those were legit?
I think the videos themselves are legit. I found them very interesting purely because of, and I know a lot of people said that the audio sounded fake and all of this. I tend to think that it was pretty genuine. Now, the pilot who was tracking one of them said in an interview afterwards that these objects moved away extremely fast. And they were all saying it was, I can't remember the number of the plane, like an F-19 or whatever the plane was, that some people were saying, oh, that's what they saw. But the problem with that I have, with the people who say, oh, yeah, it was just the next F-18 plane or 19, whatever. The problem was we actually went through this, a group of us, and we looked into it. And the plane the pilot was flying only flew, and I think it was 6 miles per hour slower than what the debunkers were saying was the plane that the pilot was watching. Well, that pilot would have recognized that plane, his equipment, his flare camera. I mean, come on, those cameras, they're not cheap. You're not going to go down to the bargain shop and buy one for $20. Those things cost millions. They see in every type of light form that we are aware of. These pilots are professionals. They're not idiots. Now, what they saw was unusual, unrecognizable, and we have to take them at their word. But that doesn't mean that it wasn't an experimental craft that was testing itself out.
And that's a very good point. But guys, we are late for our next break. But when we come back, we're going to have our final segment with Qvid. So stay tuned. You're listening to Periscope Uncensored on WBHM Digital Broadcasting, and we will be right back.
Son of a...
Hey, son.
Mother...
Son? What are you doing?
Hey, Mom. I'm getting ready to listen to Periscope Uncensored.
By expanding your vocabulary.
Well, it is uncensored.
Son, the uncensored part of Periscope Uncensored is Jax and I getting down to brass tacks with all aspects of the paranormal. There's no fluff on our show.
So, no off-color commentary?
I didn't say that.
Awesome!
Son?
I just hit my head.
Oh boy, I'll go get you an ice pack. Catch Periscope Uncensored Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, only on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
26 minutes past the hour here on Periscope Uncensored on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Alabama. I am the fabulous, the illustrious, the woman with the melodic voice, Clarissa Vasquez. And my right-hand man, as always, is Jax.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How you doing, everybody? You're fabulous, but I'm just like, I'm here.
Did I not say earlier that you were the man, the myth, the legend, the sprinkles on my donut, the man of mystery? Did I not talk you up throughout the rest of the show?
Oh, you did. You did.
Okay, then.
I have to give you props.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But tonight, our British invasion continues with Qvid. And Qvid, I got a serious question. There's been stuff coming out that Mr. Bob Lazar has somehow had his hands in with the reverse engineering over at Area 51. What are your opinions on that? Do you believe it?
Is this a new thing?
No.
See, when it comes to Bob Lazar, I'm still, I'm stuck on a fence. When he originally first started talking about this a million years ago, I didn't believe him. I thought it was probably fake. Great story, loved hearing it. I thought it was a fake. One thing I did find interesting, particularly now as I'm older, is the whole Element 115. Now, when he first talked about that, originally in one of his interviews, he said that it was named on Unuptium. I might be pronouncing that wrong. He said, but him and the odd scientist person that he spoke to, because he now says that he basically wasn't able to talk to many people. But they used to joke about it and call it unobtainium, because this element isn't produced naturally on Earth. It can be produced in space, but not on Earth. Now, they later brought out, they released the news that they'd found this new element, but they've named it differently because of the person who said, oh yeah, this is a thing and blah, blah, blah. I was just a little bit disappointed that it didn't end up being called Unuptium. Or it was something like Unuptium that he said it was originally called. But it is interesting. But the problem is, I could say, well, I've worked in a base and I've seen flying saucers. We discovered element 127. Yeah, and we're calling it floppy floppy. And in years to come, they might discover element 127 or whatever and give it a name. Just because I named the number doesn't make it real. Bob Lazar, I can't say I fully believe him. I mean,
Well, go ahead.
With some of the things that we've heard about him, is that the likes of the government basically trying to diss his name, throw a bad light on him, or isn't he? I don't know. I'm on the fence with Bob Lazar.
Because it just seems funny because within the last 70 years, our technology has really skyrocketed. And the funny thing is that if you look at it and you firmly believe, like the Roswell crash, UFO crash in 1947, if that actually happened and the government did recover, of course, this is just speculation now, regardless whether if I believe it or not, which I do believe that the United States government recovered a crashed UFO, that all of this stuff, including the reverse engineering and element 115, actually came from that crashed UFO. What do you think of that theory?
Well, the Roswell crash, I would tend to think that, yes, something did crash. Whether it was an alien spacecraft or whether it was something that was being tested at the time, which a lot of stuff was being tested, I tend to feel it may have been that. And the whole after cover story, oh, well, it was Project Mogul, super top secret weather balloon. That doesn't stand up because in actual fact, Project Mogul was very, very similar to every other weather balloon they put up. The only difference with it, where people are saying, oh, yeah, well, it was top secret. Yes, it was top secret, but it was basically just another weather balloon. The reason it was classified as top secret was not because of the weather balloon itself. It's what the information that they were getting back from the weather balloon was being used for, because they were basically trying to find out whether the Russians were using nuclear weapons and launching stuff. It was basically that, but it was an information thing. The actual equipment on the weather balloon was nothing particularly amazing. It was what the information they were getting from that equipment was being used for. That was top secret. So their explanation, oh yes, it was Project Mogul, a super top secret thing, I don't believe that. I think that was a cover story. But again, I'm not sure in my mind whether it could have been an alien craft or whether it was something that they were experimenting with at the time. And they were experimenting with a lot of things. So, again,
I mean, do you think that Major Marcel, Jesse Marcel, do you think that he could have made that mistake and from a weather balloon to something else that crashed?
Well, Jesse Marcel, they say about him being an intelligence officer. When you actually see pictures of him at that time, he was a young man. Maybe he made a mistake. In my opinion, no, he never. He saw something. Now, he mightn't have been privy to experimental craft, but when they made him sit down and showed him bits of balsa wood and silver foil, well, that was a propaganda thing to just squash that story. What they showed on that picture where you see Jesse with the bits of balsa wood and the silver foil, that was not what crashed at Roswell. There is no way. He found something. But again, whether it was extraterrestrial or whether it was just something advanced, remember, if they are 40 or 50 years ahead of what we see, then it's 40 or 50 years ahead of what he's seeing as well. So.
Interesting. So, so as far as technology goes into whatever paranormal, whichever subject in the paranormal you think, what do you think is the next step for, as far as what would you like to see as far as equipment that comes out so we can detect some of this stuff?
Equipment to detect it?
Yes.
Oh, wow. I think we've got to, first of all, know what kind of technology they actually have, what they're working on. I mean, there's certain companies that, you know, somebody comes up with a crazy idea. Well, what if we could do this? And they, you know, you would normally be told, that's impossible, don't be stupid. But there are certain companies out there that actually investigate it. And they investigate it by throwing the best scientists, the best engineers, the best technicians. You know, they've got the money to do this stuff. And I think it's to a point where it's hard to imagine what they're doing because, you know, we're being told, oh, yeah, this is the fastest plane in the world or the best secret bomber or whatever. You can guarantee they've got better stuff. I mean, the fastest plane in the world was supposed to be the SR-71 Blackbird. And they always said, well, you know, it can do Mach 3.5. But what people don't realize is when it actually did that speed record and become the fastest plane in the world, in actual fact, it was only using one of its two engines. So that thing could go faster even then. So what are they doing now? I mean, I've seen pilots being tested in the centrifuge, and there was one Russian guy without the use of a suit to stop the blood from rushing through his body. Without the use of that, he was able to get up to close to Mach 10, could have been slightly higher. You throw a suit on that guy and he can go even faster. Well, why are you even testing speeds like that when the fastest plane known in the world was the SR-71, which could only do Mach 3.5? Why would you bother testing pilots to that speed?
Right, because as far as I know, the human body wasn't supposed to withstand, you know, maneuvers and speed of that magnitude.
Yep, and that's maybe why a different form of propulsion is the ideal way to go. Something where you can almost jump from one place to another instantaneously. Because if you can jump there instantaneously, there are no gravitational forces. You're not flying there. You're just there.
You're talking like a portal.
I wouldn't like to put something on it. Whether it's anti-gravity, whether they're able to put a bubble around an object and just, if you like, teleport it, whether it's a portal. I think we can actually go faster than we are being told. I mean, at one point, when they were originally making trains, they didn't want to make the train go over, what was it, something like 25 miles an hour, because they thought the gravitational forces would crush the human body. Yeah, well, that got kind of proved a little bit wrong, didn't it?
Yeah. Absolutely.
One
Well,
day,
we've only got about 3 minutes left with Mr. Qvid.
Okay.
So,
So
do we have closing comments? And
uh,
where can people find out more about the Q?
well, I have a little YouTube channel named QQQVID, Qvid. The majority of the stuff on my channel is actually more gamer related. I've done a couple of skits on the odd bigger UFO YouTubers. That's pretty much it. I don't really advertise my channel.
and there's a special video out there that Mr. Qvid had put together. It's funny as anything. So make sure you go to his channel, QQQvid.
Is that the one where he's poking fun at you and Vern and?
The
Yes, it
original
is.
spaceman.
Yeah,
Yes.
I like that video. That video makes me laugh.
Yeah, that was a video where I had fallen asleep on the live stream. Jax and a group of my so-called friends had taken a photograph of me, put it onto
So
a t-shirt, and in the morning, I discovered that the t-shirt had gone up for sale and had actually been sold. So I decided to do a joking revenge video. The problem for the guys was I record a lot of conversations, and sometimes they do silly things when I was recording.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
And the star of that video was actually in the chat. That's Lee in the chat. Gyro.
Mr. Gyro.
Yes.
Well, Q, we want to thank you for being such a great guest on the show tonight. I know this has really been enlightening for a lot of our listeners, and it's been a lot of fun for us.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for having me on. It's been my honor.
And yeah, you know that you'll be talking to the two of us here pretty soon. So,
Yeah, it's been great. Thank you very much.
all right. Well, have a great night, sir, and best of luck in your endeavors.
Well, as always, I'll smell you later.
And on that note, folks, it is time for our final break of the evening. But when we come back, more with Jax and I. So stay tuned. You're listening to Periscope Uncensored on WBHM Digital Broadcasting, and we will be right back. 45 minutes past the hour here on Periscope Uncensored on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Alabama. I am Clarissa Vasquez, and riding shotgun in the co-pilot's seat, of course, is the man that is capable of doing more than Mach 3, Mr. Jax.
Hello, everybody. That was new.
See? You like that?
I do.
Okay. You're welcome.
Thank you. A little late on that one, but thank you.
You're welcome.
That was a great interview. I'm really glad that Q was able to come on.
Me too.
That was awesome.
It's always a good time, when we're cussing and discussing with Q, and the response from our listeners has just been amazing so far. Everybody is just, people have been participating in the chat room and contributing to the conversation, and it's been really, really cool. I'm tickled.
Yay!
Yay!
I'm doing the happy dance.
Oh,
happy dance.
God, the happy dance. Folks, I wish you could see on camera the happy dance.
I'm glad we're not on camera.
The happy dance is a sight to behold.
Yes. Yes. But I mean, Qvid has, he's part of the community that we all started like 4 years ago. And the thing is that with him comes across like, if we say something, we have our own theories. He's like, yeah, but if you think of that way, you got to put this in with that, and get you thinking even more. I mean, the conversations. I mean, yeah, between myself, Gyro, and Gyro's in the chat, I believe. How you doing, Gyro? There's a shout
Gyro's in the chat.
Between myself, Gyro, Vern, and a couple other people. Skin Man, rest in peace, brother. Conversations get deep, real deep, and it's been like that way for the whole 4 years, 5 years that we've known each other.
Just don't let Vern tell jokes.
Yeah.
Or you'll break Clarissa.
Yeah. No more corrupting.
Yes. Thou shalt not corrupt the Clarissa. Those bad men warped my fragile sensibilities.
Yeah, but you know what? The goddess will prevail.
Oh, the goddess always prevails. Yes.
So, but so who we have on the show next week?
Next week we have Aubrey Baldwin from Thin Line Paranormal on the show. So that's going to be a really, really exciting one. Thin Line Paranormal is out of Pennsylvania, I believe.
That is right in Gyro's neck of the woods.
Oh, Gyro, you're going to have to tune in, buddy. You got to do it now, because I said so.
Yeah, but this has been a really good show. I'm really glad that Q had the time to come on with us, and
me too, because the time difference, there's like between where I'm at and where Q is, there's 7 hours time difference.
Yes, 7 hours for you, 5 hours for me.
Yeah.
Yep. So
when we say we were very fortunate to get Qvid on the show, we really mean it, because, let's see, it's almost 9:00 here. So it's almost 4:00 in the morning where he's at.
Yes.
So yeah, we were very, very fortunate to be able to have him on the show this evening. But don't tell him that.
Right?
It'll go to his head.
I was just going to say that. Right? But, I'd love to have Q come back on the show at some point, and
yeah,
maybe it. Who knows? Maybe we can work something out. We can have a roundtable discussion and have Q and Vern on the show at the same time. That would be interesting.
I don't know if I can handle having Q and Vern on the show at the same time.
Well,
I don't know if my sides could handle it, because Vern likes to tell jokes. And they corrupt me. They corrupt me. But speaking of jokes, what do little ghosts call their mom and dad?
I don't know what.
They're trans parents. What game do little ghosts like?
What?
Hide and shriek.
Oh my God.
What's a little ghost's favorite dessert?
Blueberry.
Oh, not quite. I scream.
Oh,
How did the little ghost learn to play the piano?
I don't know.
Using sheet music. What kind of mistakes do little ghosts make?
I don't know.
They make boo-boos. What is a little ghost's favorite dinosaur?
Busaurus Rex.
Nope. A pterodactyl. Where did the ghost mom take her baby when she went to work?
I don't know. What?
A day scare center.
Oh, jeez.
Why were the little ghosts so successful in Little League?
Why?
They had team spirit.
Oh,
What do you call a little ghost whose sheet is torn?
a holy sheet?
Close, a holy terror. What did the mother say to the little ghost?
Shut up and comb your face? I don't know.
Comb your face? Okay. No, put on your booze and socks. Booze and shocks. I'm sorry.
That was a punchline for a joke that said, "What did the mother werewolf say to her baby werewolf? Shut up and comb your face."
Shut up and comb your face. I get it. Okay. Why do ghosts and demons get along?
Why?
Because demons are a ghoul's best friend. Where do ghosts go on vacation?
Where?
Lake Erie.
Um,
How do ghosts keep fit?
by exercising.
Yes, by exercising regularly.
I remember
Why?
your T-shirt.
Yeah, my t-shirt this morning. Yep. Why did the game warden arrest the ghost?
Why?
No haunting license. Why are ghosts happy?
Why?
Because every shroud has a silver lining.
Jeez.
What is a ghost's favorite fruit?
Blueberries.
There you go, blueberries. What kind of horse does a ghost ride?
What?
A nightmare.
Yeah.
When
Mhm.
does a ghost's work week start?
When?
On Monday. When does a ghost's work week end?
When?
On Friday.
Oh my.
Okay, last one. What do you call the ghost of a chicken?
I don't know what.
A poultrygeist.
Oh my God. I gotta hand it to you. Those are pretty cute.
You like
Those
those?
are.
And they're FCC appropriate.
There you go.
You really like the Monday one, though. On Monday.
Yeah. but before we go, I just want to say that I just want to dedicate this show to our friend Greg Skinner, who passed away this past Friday. He was loved by all of us, and we're going to really miss him. God bless you, Greg.
Definitely. And our thoughts and prayers are with his family.
Yes.
So, yeah, we are almost out of time. But be sure to tune in next week when we're going to have Andrea Baldwin from Thin Line Paranormal on the show. Be sure to tune in next Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern, here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting. We're going to be talking to, I'm sorry, I think I called her Andrea. Her name is Aubrey Baldwin. We're going to have Aubrey on the line and talking about her research and her organization. And I believe she's even got some psychic capabilities. So we'll probably be talking to her about that a little bit too. It's going to be a good show.
Yes. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. And on that note, we are out of time. So for Jax, Kat, the WBHM family of hosts, and myself, we want to wish everyone a fantastic evening, and may all of your ghosts be friendly.
Stay spooky, everybody.
Good night.